Think brand is just your logo, a font, maybe a mission statement that gets dusted off once a year? That kind of thinking is costing you deals. In today's buying environment where trust is low, noise is high, and most research happens in the dark, your brand story is everything. And here's the proof. 77% of B2B purchase influencers say brand awareness plays a role in deciding whether to trust a company. Yet most B2B companies still sound exactly the same. In this video, I'll show you how to turn your brand into a shortcut to trust in a crowded market, and share the exact framework we use at Cognism to go from generic to unforgettable. Here's why this matters. The majority of your buyers, around 95%, aren't in market right now. They're not ready to buy today, but will eventually be. And when that moment comes, they'll choose the brand that feels the most familiar, credible, and safe. That's why your brand story matters so much. It's the anchor that keeps your messaging consistent, unifies your campaigns, and builds emotional relevance long before a sales conversation starts. This isn't fluffy narrative work. A strong, consistent brand story will keep your messaging aligned across every touch point, build recall before a buyer is ready to convert, aligns your teams on what you stand for, not just what you sell, and the data backs it up. 83% are more likely to keep doing business with a company that they already trust. 50% are more likely to purchase from a brand they recognize. In B2B, where buying cycles are long and high stakes, trust is the deciding factor. Here's the thing, we often forget B2B buyers aren't robots, but too often we treat them like they are. We assume every decision is purely rational, purely about features and price. In reality, most buyers make their decisions under pressure, and pressure makes people lean on emotion. Think about it. You're in a decision-making role, probably part of a buying committee. You've got to bring a short list of vendors to the table, and your professional reputation is on the line. You don't want to be the person who brings in a risky, unknown option. You want solutions that feel credible, safe, and established. And that means leaning towards brands you've heard of and that your team has heard of too. That instinct to avoid risk and feel reassured isn't irrational. It's human. And when a buyer's under pressure, they won't choose the cheapest or most feature-packed product. They'll choose the one that feels right to champion in the room. The best brand stories don't start with what you do. They start with what you believe. Your why is what makes your story mean something to your customers and to your team. What frustrates your audience? What's broken that you're here to fix? What do you stand for that your competitors don't? That's where we started with our Sales Companion launch. Instead of listing features, we dug deep into our audience's real pain. We ran chasm interviews, customer feedback analysis, and quantitative surveys. Here's what we found. 85% of customers struggled to connect with the right decision makers. The problem wasn't effort, but wasted effort. 65% had missing data in their CRM, and 61% said what they did have was wrong. From external surveys, 72% of sales pros said that data quality was their #1 challenge. And 80% told us the main benefit they wanted from a sales intelligence tool was connecting with the right people at the right time. The insight was clear. Our ICP wasn't short on data, they were drowning in too much bad data, and that became the foundation of our entire story. Once we had that insight, we distilled it into a single belief-led narrative. Go-to-market teams don't struggle with the lack of data, they struggle with poor quality data. And Cognism gives them high-quality, context-rich data grounded in European expertise so they can personalize outreach at scale and reclaim confidence. This wasn't just a launch slogan, it became the thread that ran through everything. The product's positioning, campaign concepts like the +1 Sales Companion, sales enablement decks and battle cards, SEO and thought leadership content, even our visual design system. By starting with a belief rather than a product spec, we gave every team the same story to tell, and one our audience actually cared about. A strong belief is the foundation, but turning it into a brand experience takes precision, planning, and cross-functional alignment. For Sales Companion, we followed a structured roadmap to make sure our story wasn't just compelling, it was consistent, memorable, and delivered impact across every touchpoint. Step 1, research-informed hypothesis. We didn't guess our message, we validated it. That meant chasm-style interviews with existing customers, quantitative surveys from hundreds of go-to-market professionals, CRM usage data showing low trust and broken workflows. Step 2, Narrative definition. We made sure our message went beyond function and data quality to feeling clarity, confidence, and control. That gave the story emotional depth. Step 3, multi-channel delivery. We rolled out the story everywhere. Our demand gen team ran emotion-first ad creators showing the human cost of bad data with frustration-led copy to support it. Our product marketing team ran persona-specific messaging for SDRs, RevOps, sales leaders. They updated decks and battle cards that mirrored the new story. For customer marketing, we had transition campaigns to bring existing customers along, plus advocacy programs to amplify product value. And for SEO and content, we looked at high-intent keywords tied to our belief and thought leadership linking our product to bigger industry shifts like RevOps and data unification. Step 4, brand identity refresh. We sharpened the design system, making it product first with real UI. We also rolled out internal assets so that every team could speak the same language. And the results spoke for themselves. A 90% higher click-through rate on our ads, a 50% longer dwell time on launch videos. That's what happens when the story is rooted in a truth your audience already feels. By starting with why and not what, we aligned product marketing and sales around a belief rather than a feature list. Demand gen could lead with emotion, product could focus on trust and quality, and sales felt empowered to tell a consistent story because the story was rooted in a truth our audience already felt. Every touch point, not just the launch campaign, had more impact. That's the power of a belief-driven brand story. It makes you relevant long before the buying decision and unforgettable when it counts. All right, now it's your turn to put this into practice. Here's your homework. 1. Define your why. What do you believe about the problem you solve? What frustrates your audience about the status quo? What future are you helping them create? 2. Map your brand narrative. Fill out this template. Why we exist, the problem with how things are today, what we believe, and the future we're creating. And number 3, audit your current messaging. Look at your last 5 assets. Do they reinforce your brand story? Do they sound like you or like everyone else? In lesson 2, we'll dive into creating a visual identity that doesn't just stand out, but becomes instantly recognizable in your market. You'll see the exact process we used at Cognism to make our creative impossible to scroll past.